Hey everybody, this is Jordan Tremaine with All the Things, back with another book review, and today we're going to talk about this book, which is Sway, The Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior by Ori and Ron Brafman. So let's get into it. So Sway, I think, is a pretty simple book to read. It's very straightforward, and it has a lot of examples that I like. It doesn't have any pictures, which is like, but I really do appreciate this book, and it's one of the books that I feel is good for just everybody to read. You don't really have to be into one thing or another thing. It's just good information to know. And like the title kind of alludes to when it says the irresistible pull of irrational behavior, this book is talking a lot about different psychological traps we as humans can fall into that cause us to make what the book calls irrational behaviors or bad decisions. And then it goes through all these examples of, for each different type of irrational behavior, different examples of how you could fall into that, and how very smart people, highly qualified people, people with important jobs, they fall into these traps too. And it's not a matter of, oh, I'm smarter than that, I'm better than that. It's, I'm human, so I should be careful of these things. I should watch out for these things. So a couple examples of the things in this book that it's talking about, kind of to give you a little sneak peek without spoiling everything. One of the sways, they call them, well, each one of these different kind of psychological ideas is a different pull to sway you to make a certain type of decision. One of the sways is dissenting opinion. So for instance, if there's 10 people, you're this person, right? You're my thumb. And these 9 people, like we all have to make a decision. Like we all have to vote who's going to be class president. And out of John, James, and Mary, we got to vote for class president. And if all 9 of these people vote for John, it puts a lot of pressure on me to also vote for John, even if like maybe I wanted to vote for Mary. But because everybody else is doing one thing, it's kind of this mob mentality that puts pressure on me, the minority who wants to vote for something else. And a lot of times, like if this person is like John, even if this person wanted to vote for James because everybody else voted for John, he might say John too. And then because he didn't switch it up and he didn't say James like he wanted to, this person says John too, John. And it gets more and more pressure until it gets to me, the last person. And it's really hard sometimes to say, no, I want to vote for Mary. Even though everybody said John. And the dissenting opinion idea is sometimes when one person, like if it's John, and then this person says James, this person makes it a lot easier for the people that haven't voted yet to say what they want rather than being pressured or feeling pressure to do what everybody else is doing. And that dissenting opinion, even if it's not correct, like sometimes everybody's making the incorrect decision, even if the person that's making the different decision isn't correct either, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's different. And because someone did something different, it's like everybody's like, oh, I don't have to do what everybody is doing. I could do what I think is right. And so that's one of the sways where a lot of people fall into that trap of mob mentality, or what they call dissenting opinion here. And I think we all at least feel that pressure, and we've all been through that more than one time in our life. So when I was reading a lot of these things, I was like, oh yeah, I felt that. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. But when it's like laid out clearly in front of you in text, and it shows you like kind of scientifically, like step by step, like why this is problematic, it kind of hits you a little different. So that's one example with the dissenting opinion. And another example is called the sunken cost fallacy or loss aversion, where us as humans, we don't like to lose things. We don't like to go through breakups. We don't like to feel that pain of loss. And sometimes, even though we know the thing is bad for us, we'll keep investing in it and we'll keep putting our time in it because we're afraid to lose it, even if that thing is not good for us long term. And so sometimes we're in a relationship that's not good for us. It's bad. Everybody can see it's bad. We can see the problems, but we don't want to break up with the person because that really sets in the loss. That's like, I definitely lost and I can't salvage this. And we always want to save things because we don't want to lose things. But looking at it in terms of sway, saying like, hey, maybe because I'm a human, I'm at risk for thinking in this sort of way, which doesn't make any sense. Maybe the reason I'm feeling this way is because of the sway, not because this is really how reality works. And I think sometimes when you put different things in certain perspectives, it can help you really make decisions that are better for you long term. And so the sunken cost fallacy is like when you keep, like when you're at the poker table and you keep betting even though you're losing, like you're gonna win it back. Like, oh, I've lost so much, I gotta win at a certain point. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Or like with investing and stuff like that, a lot of people can fall into this: if I just did a little bit more, it'd get better. Or if I just invested a little bit, if I just stayed a little bit longer, which is true sometimes. I'm not saying that's always not true, but check your facts. Is there a reasonable kind of path to success? Is there data that shows that the outcome that you want is possible and is reachable with what you're doing? Or are you just trying to force reality to be what you want it to be? And so those are two examples, the sunken cost fallacy and the dissenting opinion. But this book, Sway, goes through a number of really good examples. And what I really like about this book is it takes different examples and it says a lot of times one sway is like not enough to have somebody make a bad decision, or it influences someone, but not in a very grand way. But most of the time in real life, we're under the influence of multiple sways at the same time. And it can be harder and harder and harder to make good decisions when there's more and more psychological pressure on us to make bad or irresponsible or irrational decisions. So it kind of gives you that insight into, sometimes it's this combination of things, it's this perfect storm of things that leads to our irrational behavior. And if we can look at the different things like, oh, this is this and this and this all put together, maybe that can help us make better decisions, or maybe it can help us feel less psychological pressure. So this book is like 170 pages, a really quick read, not a bunch of big words, not a bunch of fancy talk, kind of just straight stories and the kind of case studies or the anecdotes of each sway as they give examples in real life of how they play out. So I really appreciate that, how it gives you like a practical vehicle to understand these things. And it's short, simple, it gets to the point, it's not a lot of fluff. I would recommend this book to basically everybody. This is an excellent book club book because it can help you talk about the things, and then you get even more examples of how it fits into stuff. And even for couples, like when you're in a relationship or your business partners and stuff, if you both read this, or maybe your business has 5 people, if you all read this and then you talk about it, then I think it could help maybe give you guys some language or some vocabulary to say, hey, I think maybe the thought process you have or the decisions that you're leaning towards, they may be under a certain sway. And I'm not calling you right or wrong, but like, can we take a closer look at this to make sure that you're not feeling pressure from somewhere to make a certain decision when that's not the real decision that you would make. So this is a good book. Apparently it was a New York Times bestseller. It was recommended to me by someone I highly respect, and I thank him for that. But the book is Sway, and I think it is a decent book. It is a good book. It's an easy book to read. And, you know, new ideas, they really help people to break free of old habits, to do things that are better for them, to create good relationships. And I really, really support and appreciate people who create better ideas, who share good ideas, and who are even willing to take the time and get the idea out of their head and put it somewhere like a book so that other people can look at it and we can all start from the same point, which is the book. So the book is Sway. This has been Jordan Tremaine with All the Things, and I will see you guys next time.